for Voyboy, just such a safe ban. Every single time I see Voyboy play Olaf, it's one of his best top champions. It is astounding because he's one of the best 1v2 top laners in the game, and his 1v2 control as Olaf is wild. He always just power farms as Olaf, you know, even in really dangerous situations. And so then later in the game, he's going to be very strong. So they banned that out. They also ban out Sivir, which is funny because teams, you know, they had seen Sivir as key to that pushing strategy from CLG, and Sivir does add a lot to that split pushing. She can control a lane and push very easily. She you know, has a lot of strengths. But I think Hotshot in an interview, he was like laughing because he was like, it's funny to me that people consider Sivir part of that split pushing strategy when she really isn't. But you know, any pusher, you need an AD that has really strong wave clearing, and her mobility also helps. So that is a strong ban on their part. The ultimate is just so powerful.
Yeah, she is a fantastic split pusher. No matter what you put, you pop that ultimate. One of the best things about you know, anyone who does split push, one of the things you need to have is you need to have a way to clear those waves ridiculously fast, which Sivir has multiple tools to do so, but you also need a means to escape if you get pressured in the lane you're split pushing. She has both in spades. She is a fantastic split pusher. Shen, Mordekaiser, Vlad going to be banned for CLG. Olaf, Sivir, and Alistar are banned out for IG. And IG, they're considering the Diana or the Gragas.
OP Diana.
Oh,
that's her name.
She did have some nerfs.
Yes,
she's still good.
Yeah,
and
she is very strong. It's actually really interesting to see her in play because it is a melee mid, which you haven't really seen for a while. You've seen Gragas, but Gragas, even as a melee, he plays more like a ranged champion, whereas Diana is a true melee, you know, AP mid assassin. But she has really nice AoE as well, so that's going to be an interesting thing for them to deal with. But I don't know. We'll see how CLG can run with it because Diana can snowball very early, so you need someone in lane to, you know, abuse her. She's actually fairly tanky as the game progresses, so I'm not sure. You know, I'm not actually sure what some of the you know, counters you would consider are for Diana. I would just generally say anyone that does well versus those kind of melee AD carry champions, which means heavy CC, so champs like Anivia, heavy AoE champions like Karthus. So we'll see, you know, if they go along those lines. Graves definitely works out though because picking up the Graves early on, they want to have that pushing potential, or at the very least, they want to have the capabilities if they want to go down that line. And Graves is one of the strongest pushers in the game. Also,
Cho'Gath being considered and will be picked up by CLG. So Cho'Gath, is it too soon to tell? Is it going to be top lane or jungle? Do we quite know yet?
It's most likely going to be jungle, and Voyboy doesn't really play Cho'Gath top. You know, I'm sure he probably plays it some, or he would play it if they wanted to run a 1v2, but that's 99.9% hotshot GG. And, you know, he had always been a really strong Cho'Gath player, but it works with his jungling style because hotshot, he likes playing those clearing junglers, AoE clearing junglers that are more for counter initiation. They're more reactionary junglers. So people like Shyvana, you know, and Skarner that you look to be around the map and orient yourself around the enemy jungler and then counter engage against them. And that's kind of what Cho does. He's a pretty fast jungler. You can run movement speed quints on him, so very safe. And then IG, they're going to be going with Ezreal and Sona. So Ezreal and Sona has a lot of harass. It's a very common bot lane. It will work very well against Graves.
Yeah, that's the best thing about Ezreal. We've mentioned it many times on stream before, is that he can be matched up with nearly any support and do well. It's just specifically in this setup, it is going to be a lot of harass. Not only do you have the aura from Sona providing a lot more AD to Ezreal to get his poke on along with his Q and his W, Sona going to be aggressive from the bush, keep on jamming that Q whenever someone else is nearby, and try to see if they cannot force CLG back in the bot lane. So now, here's the thing too. We talked about Cho. Now Diana, is she going to be mid or is she going to be jungle? She could do both. She could do either.
She could do either. Almost certainly going to be a mid pick though. So I mean, there is the potential that they could hop her out into the jungle. Just really not expecting it.
Not anymore. Not with that Nocturne being considered.
Yeah, and they did play a lot of Nocturne yesterday, and it really has looked very strong for them. And it's because they like focusing on those mid ganks. Well, Diana is very strong at setting it up. Same thing with Maokai. They have a mid champion that can root someone in place. You know, has enough damage to set up those mid ganks, and Nocturne will be able to follow up on it. They can try and snowball that lane. But Orianna is a very safe pick. Orianna, you know, has a lot of poke potential. She can counter push very easily, but should be able to wear down Diana a little bit. So it is a safe pick, and they get Jace as well. So Jace for the top lane. We'll see what Voyboy plays against it. With Olaf not being there, he could, you know, go with like an Aurelia. That would be a very safe pick for him.
Yeah, Aurelia Jace has really been the most common matchup we see top lane when a Jace is involved. And we've been talking about this all week. Jace, he's a fantastic dude top lane. A lot of the pros expecting him to be banned out quite frequently during Worlds. And we also saw a little bit of let's see who was ballsy enough to play Jace AD. I cannot remember. What was it? It was WinFact. WinFact the other day against SK decided to play Jace bot lane AD.
And a number of teams have been playing Jace as support. Actually, against CLG Black, Invictus Gaming, they played Jace as support. That's not going to be the case here. He's probably going to be going top lane. But they played Jace support. CLG NA in their match yesterday for MLG against, who was it, Legion maybe? I don't remember, but they played Jace support as well, I believe. And he's just a strong champion. You want him on your team. Voidboy going to be going with the Malphite. That is a common pick for him. I thought they might go with the Aurelia because Aurelia has that single target CC to shut down someone like Diana. But Malphite's AoE CC works very well, and both Aurelia and Malphite both pair extremely well with Orianna. The Malphite-Orianna combo will be very nice. But in particular, they can try and burst down and shut down Diana in these team fights.
Yeah, if you're not up on the combo, what Orianna will do is just throw the orb onto Malphite. Malphite ults on in, and followed up once everyone lands with the Orianna ult once again. And there's so much CC, there's so much damage to deal with. But remember, Voidboy is going to be top lane with that Malphite. So that's a strat more saved for the team fight phase if CLG can get there.
They actually could go for a lane swap, so that's something to watch out for. Jace is very strong in a 1v2 situation, so that's one of the strengths of Jace. Not only is he just such a ridiculous laner overall, but he can clear the waves fairly safely. However, Malphite and Voidboy, that's CLG, they run a lot of lane swaps, but Voidboy on Malphite, it is a strong 1v2 lane. He's generally tanky enough to not worry about a lot of that damage. He can get early armor, and that's going to completely shut down the damage from Ezreal and Sona. But also he has some AoE clearing himself to try and stall the wave. While Graves is one of the strongest pushers in the game, and that Taric combination, having the Taric for that kill lane, if they pick off Jace, they could maybe get some pressure there. So we'll see. The threat is at least there. But IG, they're ready for it. Even if CLG goes for it, there's not really a big advantage for CLG because Jace is such a strong 1v2er. He will be very safe in that lane. So we'll see. I think they're probably going to run standard, but the threat is there.
Yep. And usually when you see Taric and Graves, that's very indicative of a kill lane. But look at the summoners. You got Double Lift actually going on the defensive. He's picking up the cleanse. And you also got Voidboy with the teleport, which for CLG, for their strat, we have seen teleport play from them before, just to have that map presence and just to make sure you can get that push, get that pressure on. But I'm wondering now, actually, if the lane swap will actually happen, but just for CLG.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about, but I don't really think they will in this situation. I think they'll be comfortable with Malphite in the top lane, and it is interesting to be running, teleport and cleanse instead of more aggressive summoners. But if you think of the situation, Malphite's not planning on getting any kills on Jace, so he's a little bit weaker in lane, not having an aggressive summoner. But with Cho'Gath in the jungle, there's not a lot of kill potential there. They could get the ultimate into a follow-up. That would be able to burst him down pretty quickly. But they're planning on playing more reactionary. The type of team that they have, they're looking to sit back and farm for the most part, and then play this reactionary style. And I know that teleport will help him out a lot. Cleanse has been growing in popularity. We've seen it a lot more recently. Double Lift in the past, every single time you see him with Vayne, he picks Cleanse just because he already has enough damage. He needs a little bit more survivability. And the Cleanse, it does work against the Ignite as well as the Exhaust. So, he won't necessarily have to worry about any early pressure. He can be as aggressive as he wants to be and not have to worry about going down.
I just want to make a quick note at Zetai's rune pages and masteries. Just love everywhere. Hey, I love you. I love my red, babe. Always good thing.
That's beautiful.
I thought that's cute. That's cute. Let's also take a look at PD here on the runes. Mastery is going to be for the mid Diana Magic Pen Armor AP. Pretty standard on their Masteries 2109. Also pretty standard. Also, if you're curious, we'll take a look at what Hotshot GG is going to be running rune and mastery wise. A little bit of everything. You got some attack speed. You got the movement speed. Resist all over the bar, armor, masteries. What's he running? 0-21-9, going to be a very tanky Cho. And real quick before we actually get into everything, let's choose Voidboy here. Choose you. Runes, AP.
Wow, that's actually, so he's running ability power on Malphite.
Oh, 9-12-9.
Ability power Malphite. it gives you good range poke, so that will be a little bit stronger in that lane. It does have some armor as well, but it doesn't have a lot of mana regen. So I would kind of expect to see more mana regen if he was planning on going in the 1v2 lane, because you would need it for that spam ability. But that ability power, it will allow him to trade more significantly with Jace. And since Jace doesn't have any innate regen or shields, that actually could help him win that lane.
Now, other than that, are there any other benefits to going for the AP Malphite instead of your usual standard tanky Malphite?
I mean, you get a little bit of damage. Generally speaking, Malphite will go tanky items and then transition to AP items, or some mix of the two. Really, it's just you're looking for damage. Like that's what the AP gives you.
Loading on in, be there in just a second. This is game number 1, Invictus Gaming and CLG Prime, round of 8. IPL 5 qualifier number 3 here on the NA servers. And remember, Invictus Gaming, they are playing from China. They recognize the ping disadvantage, which is fairly significant. They're all running pretty much 150 ping here, so that is something that they're gonna have to contend with. But well, we'll see how it goes from there. I think Big Fat's actually not with the rest of them. I know CLG, the majority of teams actually playing from a LAN center. I think Big Fat's just chillaxing at home.
Yeah, and the biggest weakness for running those high pings is generally with skill shots. They have a couple that they have to worry about, for both teams. However, if they're used to it, then it's not really that considerable of an advantage. If you're not used to it, it can really throw you off your game, and last hitting and everything just becomes so much more difficult. But like we had said, these players, they've been playing on the NA server for a significant period of time before the rest of those. So we'll see where they go with this. But yeah, we're in this game, and we'll be able to see IG coming in really aggressively. Orianna doesn't spot them yet, but that's one of the best advantages of Orianna. She can throw that sphere over the wall and will be very safe. She does actually see the Q coming off, and so they should be pretty safe from this invade.
Yep. Big Fat with the orb, though. And you can still take a little bit of harass, but the things, though, IG, they do not have the vision necessary. They place no wards in their own stuff as they're making their way meandering onto the mid lane. So all of IG, they're there, they're sitting, they're waiting. CLG, they are a little split up. They're going for a little bit more of a point defense strategy here, but that orb, vital tool for Orianna. I hope no one from IG pokes out from this bush. Yeah,
and Hotshot starting off with the red, so kind of expecting that early invade from IG. They have a lot of quick burst damage with the range poke that Ezreal and Jace have, but they're going to be very safe. They have the vision. It's not going to be that big of a deal, and they do clear off. So, they don't really, CLG doesn't really know where they are right now, but they ping them off. They think they're in that brush. Orianna checks it. They're not there. So they recognize, all right, they're either going for a red or they're probably going for a more standard route. We haven't seen them yet. They're probably playing really passively, so they'll be able to respond accordingly.
Also, one more note from the recent patch. We can shuffle around the dudes in the scoreboard. Look at that. Love that. It's so convenient, especially when you're looking at the comparison in creep scores. Well, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, it's particularly nice that you can set it up for those lane matchups, so you can see really easily, and they have the creep score right in the center positioning, so that you can see, all right, who's doing what in each lane. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think Illusion should be able to hold on to the smite, and he is going to, so that's going to be a nice little advantage. Cho'Gath going red first, you usually can't hold on to the smite, but it seems like Hotshot actually has. So he's been able to take that red without losing any health almost, and with holding on to that smite. So that's a really nice advantage for CLG, and there to keep up that jungling speed. And both junglers are really even in speed, but ZZ Atai, he's going in that mid lane. So
yeah. we talked about the lane swap earlier in Champ Select. I don't think this is the kind of swap we were expecting. It is still a swap nonetheless, but that's the thing. That's the beauty of Diana. She is a very malleable champ. She can play a lot of different positions all across the map, and that's the beauty about Jace too, is that he's very multifaceted. He can do lots of different things, like play a ranged champ.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in how Jace is going to do against Orianna, because usually a physical damage champion with that ranged ability will be very strong against most casters. However, Orianna is kind of unusual in that her auto attack will be just as strong as Jace's, and she also has the shield to protect herself. So a lot of times when you're planning on going for that harass, you can actually level up the E a little bit more than you would usually. But wow, that Q already is wearing down Big Fat. So really nice damage exchange with that Q.
And even then, Jace still has the range disadvantage over Orianna. And Orianna, she does have a pretty decent auto attack range, and even in gun form. But there's the poke, though. I think both champs in mid, they have very fantastic poke. But Big Fat is still getting chunked out. But that's I don't think Big Fat can actually respond to this harass appropriately.
Well, and the big concern for Big Fat is that he has actually pretty low armor. So despite the early strengths, Hotshot coming up for PDD, and with Voyboy in pursuit, they should be able to chase him down. He does have his flash still, but with the red buff, they can slowly wait. PDD has to wait for that rupture to come off. They baited out. The flash still does go down, but he was holding off for the last second because he didn't want to flash and then have Cho follow up with a rupture that's going to allow him to catch up.
Right.
But most champions, and AP champions in particular, start off with really low armor, and you usually don't get a lot of armor in that mid lane. You get, things like mana regen, magic resist. So Big Fat, he's actually a little bit low. He does have 30 armor, so he's in a decent situation. But it's still that lane swap. It sets up favorable matchups for them. So they have armor or physical damage versus a champion that's not getting a lot of armor, and then top lane they have some magic damage versus Malphite, who will prioritize more armor.
Yep, but there was that was a flash being burned into top lane, so it is still a successful gank. And PD, as he made his way on back, picked up a few more potions, got a ward, and also got the null magic mantle, anticipating the magic damage and also recognizing, man, Voyboy's got a lot of AP very early on. He's probably building a little bit different than most Malphites do, and getting the appropriate resistance.
Yeah, and that is kind of a dangerous lane for Diana right now with the harass that Voyboy can put on. Diana can wear him down a little bit, but we'll see. I'm not sure whether or not Diana's going to have enough burst damage to take him down once Diana hits 6, but she has so much damage. Her base damage is so high that might not be the case. So we'll have to keep an eye on that lane. But the MR will keep her fairly safe. She has the ward as well. She just wants to make sure she can keep up her farm and doesn't fall behind, because that's the worst thing when you do a lane swap and if you allow yourselves to fall behind. But we'll see how they transition out of it. It's actually interesting. Bot lane has been going a little bit in Ezreal and Sona's favor, and Doublelift not that far behind. He goes back. He picks himself up a Doran's Blades. That's going to be a little bit stronger for him. Allows him to duel a little bit more. But Sona and Ezreal, they are doing a really nice job of kiting. So whenever Doublelift tries to come in and get any damage, because he has such low attack range and his abilities are really close range, they're able to kite him and then turn it around and harass him down a little bit.
Also note that the Xiao Xiao has actually entered the bot lane. Usual standard support build, you get the Fairy Charm, you get the potions, but you get 4 wards. And we're not even at the 5-minute mark, and all 4 of them have actually been used to get the vision there around bot lane. So I think that's...
and also mid. They have the vision for Jace mid, so they don't have to worry about Cho'Gath. He can be extremely aggressive, and since Jace has been using his Q for harass, he's naturally going to push up against Orianna, which could leave him vulnerable to those ganks.
Illusion will be spotted meandering down into the bot lane. He does have the double buff, but with the wise ward from the Sona earlier, he will be spotted, and Full Eye and Xiao Xiao will actually not be pushing way too far out. But as I say that, Sona just charges right into the bush, but they do have the vision. It's fine. Pink ward will take out the ward, though. So good on Chowster to place that there. Yeah,
but Ezreal and Sona, they were able to burn that flash from Chowster in the previous engage, so right before they went back, and that means that they know what Chowster's range is. Sona can kind of kite around the side and not have to worry about him flashing in, but he is vulnerable. The ward drops from Chowster, so they get an eye on Illusion. He's going to back out there, but they're still in kind of a dangerous situation in that bottom lane.
I got totally confused. Like, wait, no, Nocturne's on IG. What am I saying? I'm an idiot. So he's like, wait, no, Nocturne. Like, Sona, you have to be careful. Like, oh, wait, Nocturne's on your team. I'm a dumbass.
I didn't even pick it up, but we'll keep going.
Yeah.
Nocturne's going to continue jungling. He's going to be safe. And the early wards, they have 2 wards, almost the same spot from Chowster. So that's kind of a waste of gold to an extent. Yes, it keeps them very safe. So it's not a waste from that perspective. But he is a little bit behind from Sona for using those wards. Jace jumping in on Big Fat forces out the flash along with Illusion there, and Illusion already putting a lot of pressure around the map even before hitting 6. Just kind of the threat of him coming in with the fear. And once he hits 6, that's just going to be so much more devastating. Oh, that ranged harass from Jace is just phenomenal.
Huge. How much is that doing? He's clearly leveling that thing up first. That thing's doing in excess of 200 physical damage a shot.
You also get 40% bonus when you hit it through your warp gate.
Yes, you do.
It's a really significant amount of damage, and the range is there as long as you can keep hitting it.
So if he gets it through the gate, it's about 280, 290. Maybe almost even 300. Hotshot meeting up with Illusion in the jungle. The Rupture will just barely miss. Just keep him out. Does get the smite. Does secure his own blue Wraith. You got the stun coming in from Taric down onto the Sona. Is forcing out the flash. The smoke screen will remain at the tail end of that bush. did force the flash out of the Sona. Ezreal still looking to get some poke on Doublelift, getting very weak, drinking that potion. But Shouster, can he get the heals? No, it is on cooldown. Nice cleanse from Doublelift to take down the damage for Ignite. But in the meantime, you do have Diana is a little bit trapped, actually, between a Cho and a Rock, but does manage to sneak on out.
A Rock and a Cho place.
A Rock and a Cho place.
But nice job from Doublelift getting out of there. But that exchange really worked in IG's favor because there was no damage onto Ezreal. And a lot of times as a support, you can kind of bait out that damage. You know, it's a little bit easier to kill the support, or it's a little bit easier to get that harass, so your eyes kind of widen off after that Sona. But as a result, Ezreal was free to just exchange harass very evenly, and he will pull ahead there. Nocturne still kind of running around looking for opportunities and putting a lot of pressure on this game. So really interesting to see. He's only level 4. He's falling a little bit behind in the jungle. He is behind Hotshot right now, so he needs to hit that level 6. But still, it's been putting a lot of pressure on that mid. They might actually go for this. The flash in from EasyTie, the ult from Orianna, but it's not enough. Big Fat does go down.
Not even on cooldown. The ult didn't even finish. You saw the animation start, but it was just IG was just moving too quick, and that will be first blood in the mid. Going to ZTI, getting that Jace, getting that farm, and the tier 1. And there's IGs, they're staying. They want to take out this tier 1 very quickly. Illusion and ZTI dipping in and out, looking for free damage on the tower. Hotshot does break the fear tethers. Rupture going down. Silence from the Cho. Nom down. We'll eat that shadow. ZTI does need to get out of here. Does put down the gate for a little bit extra movement speed. The Rupture,
he has him.
On top of that one, in midair from the Rupture, Voyboy follows right up with the Unstoppable Force after teleporting on into the mid. Nice combo there from CLG.
Yeah, really nice job from CLG. Once Cho hit that Rupture, Voyboy knew he had it, so he was chasing with the Flash ultimate. And it was a great turnaround because if they had lost that mid turret, then they would be able to switch Diana and Jace. Put Jace in the top lane, and he could start pushing on the top lane. But then the map control that you get from taking down that mid turret is just huge, and that would be really dangerous against someone like Diana who looks to snowball early on. That team gold would definitely help her out a little bit. Already starting to be aggressive against Malphite, but struggling a little bit with damage. But as long as she keeps up the harass, you know, definitely pulling ahead in that lane. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Hotshot just, you know, biding his time. They take a little bit too much damage. He's able to follow up with it with the Flash Feast.
Yeah. But in terms of farm top lane, though, yeah, Voyboy was behind, but he does have the kill. Kills are about 20 creeps. So for now, it's actually quite even. But with PD getting to harass, he can in the free shots. Keeping Voyboy away, that will look to extend out once again. But there's also the experience lead that PD has over Voyboy.
Well, and they are behind in both mid and top. They're behind 20 CS in both of those lanes. So, you know, kind of struggling with these unusual lane matchups. We'll see how that progresses. Bot lane's worked out, you know, pretty well for IG as well. So it's actually a 20 CS advantage in all 3 lanes currently. Yep. They're putting on a lot of pressure on CLG. And it's interesting, Full Life in the previous match, the stun on Xiao Xiao, they will actually back off the Sona ultimate along with the Ezreal ultimate, and Doublelift is very low. Full Life trying to chase him down. He does have that Phage proc, will be able to get the slow, and as Sona walks in, she will almost go down, but they get it. One more attack for the double kill. He just barely can't finish up onto Full Life. Chilster and Nocturne coming down.
Where's the vision? Nocturne wanted the vision. Illusion, unfortunately, will not get the tail end of that one.
But it's interesting. I was having a conversation with Nick earlier about how Full Life had gone with Sheen early on Ezreal yesterday, and he had started off with Sheen for a little bit more harass damage. Hotshot going in for another kill. He gets another feast on Sona.
Does get the nom, does get the snack. That will be a down support. And Hotshot's, I mean, you know, the rest of the lane, all the lanes for CLG, they're not doing too hot, but Hotshot's doing okay. He does also have now popped the Oracles, looking to clear out some of the coverage from IG. And he's doing okay. 2-0-1. He's the superstar for CLG right now.
Yeah, he is, and he's trying to pressure mid, but Jace will be very safe there. He does have the Oracles. He didn't clear it off. Okay, so he's kind of waiting. He doesn't want to take too much damage over that wall. Since they know he has the Oracles, they see him there, they will want to bait it. But anyway, IG, they have, you know, sometimes they will go with the Sheen on that Ezreal first in front of the Phage. They have it both now. But the Sheen, it gives you a little bit more harass advantage. If you hit a Sheen proc on a Mystic shot, it just is so much damage early on. However, the Phage proc is a little more standard. It allows you to fight duels a little bit more easily early on. And then also, if you get one single phage proc when you're going for that harass, then you can chase him down. That's what happened there. Double lift just can't deal with that early pressure, and he, hit the one phage proc from Ezreal onto double lift. He was able to chase him down for the kill. But really nice lane control. All three lanes going in IG's favor right now, despite the ping disadvantages.
Yeah, then they're down 1 kill, but from all this farm, though, look, it is a 1,500 gold lead. And, not to mention, there's also now a turret, so I stand corrected, 2,500 gold. And just on the 12th minute here, IG carving out a very nice lead for them early on. PD looking for some damage down in the void, but here comes Hotshot, though, against Unstoppable Force, following up the Rupture, actually flashing.
Gets over it.
Does get over it. Meanwhile, you do have some harass coming down bot lane, but PD looking for damage. The Fear Tether is going down onto Voidboy, and PD will pick up the kill onto the Malphite there in the top lane.
Yeah, and Jace is chasing down Cho. He kind of wants to see where he's going, and will meet up with him, so he's going to be able to get some nice damage if he decides to go in on it. He does miss the Q. He actually, if he had hit that Q...
I think it's the first one he's missed, pretty much.
But if he had hit that, I think he might have gone in, because that would have taken Hotshot down to about half, and he could have done the melee transformation, gotten some quick damage there. But IG really pulling ahead right now, 3K gold advantage, and they can start pressuring that top lane as well.
Yeah, top lane with both Diana and Jace here, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And you saw earlier too when everyone was up top lane. Big Fat, he was at a loss at what to do. He was like, do I push the tower, or do I go down bot lane? Do I throw down some wards? Like, what do I do? I think Big Fat's a little bit just confused on his role here.
Yeah, they are kind of taken aback by the pressure that IG's placing, because IG is moving around as a team. They're putting a lot of pressure on top and mid in particular, and then allowing Ezreal and Sona, since it's such a strong lane, to just hold the bottom lane. So they don't have to worry about that bot lane. They really don't have to put a lot of pressure down there. But we'll see, how that kind of changes coming forward. They do have really nice dragon control as well with the Nocturne if they decide to go for that, and I don't know, we'll kind of see if that's the case. He does have the wriggles, so he could try and force it, and he is actually making his way down bottom, maybe looking for a kill.
Yep. And if there's the one thing that IG is lacking right now, though, if there is the ward coverage, because you do now have Hotshot with that Oracle. So hopefully we'll see IG pick one up for themselves pretty soon. And with this Dragon secure, they could have the gold to do it, but Hotshot waiting for his time, will not get in, will not be in range for the smite. But here comes Orianna with the ult, keeping Diana behind. Nocturne going to be ulting on in. 2 Big Fat in the back of the line, but Diana does go down pretty quick. Tarek is the next one to go down. Chouster will not be a part of this fight. Full Eye looking for damage, looking for ass, looking to get whatever poke he can, but CLG has scattered. Voidboy waiting in his bush, and Illusion is spotted, grabbing that blue. If CLG wants to contest, it needs to be done soon. Voidboy does have the ult up, but the blue will fall. IG will get out of there. So that is a dragon and blue buff, enemy blue buff, secured for IG, and 1-for-1 even on those kills.
Yeah, they're just too low to contest there, but IG, they have a team that's really strong at snowballing fights and disorganized fights. So Ezreal and Jace, they're good at picking off champions after the fights have gotten, busted basically, and everyone's kind of low. Diana, that single target burst and her kind of capabilities, she does add to that chaos. So, they have an early lead, and with that early lead, they get to use these champions that are really strong at snowballing fights, and it really worked out well for them. It's going to be difficult for CLG. They need to be coordinated with their fights, but right now, they didn't have a lot of damage on Graves. Double, if he just bought the BF sword, it wasn't available to him in the previous fight, but he is chasing down Xiao Xiao, the flash from Sona, so nice job there. But now that he has this BF sword, they can, maybe do a little bit better in fights, but they're still 5K down now, which means they're going to need to play really extremely passively and try and catch up.
Ult from Chester going down on a Full Eye, looking for extra damage, also wants the armor just gone from Ezreal. Double does get a few shots in, but the wave is now CLG's time to push here in the bot lane. You also got Hotshot. He's not too far behind. He's actually waiting for someone to come down. Z-Tai.
Nocturne's there. Jace as well. Nocturne could get the engage.
Nocturne's waiting on the side. He's waiting in the jungle, waiting for his time. The ult is also not up. There is the Q. He could go for a few turns. Jace getting very low, and there's Hotshot with that last hit. Voidboy coming in, teleport onto the ward in enemy jungle. Does the unstoppable force onto Sona and onto Ezreal. Double kill for Hotshot. GG. Also picking up Illusion. Very well done, negating that last dragon.
Yeah, perfect timing from CLG, because Ezreal was out of mana, so he wasn't able to really do anything in that fight. And that's kind of why they were hesitant to engage on them, because they actually had an opportunity where Nocturne could have ulted down down into the bottom lane, but they could have closed on him, but Ezreal was out of mana. So, you know, CLG, they recognized the situation. Hotshot recognized he could be extremely aggressively in the lane, despite the fact that they're down. You usually don't look to counter jungle as significantly as Hotshot was going there when you're behind, but they do have PDD caught out of position if they can get him. The Rupture does not hit. PDD trying to get back, but he's caught out of position. Will go down very quickly.
I think, you know, to be fair, PD was a little bit too far out in enemy territory than he should have been, considering that you know, that last team fight, a lot of his teammates were either dead or back at base. So I think it's more bad on Day than anything else.
But all of a sudden, CLG, they've halved their deficit. They were down by 6K gold. Now it's just 3.5K. So, you know, really nice play from them trying to get back in this game. And, you know, that's rather than sit back and play defensively and split the lanes, which might allow Invictus an opportunity to, you know, take advantage of their split pushing style and then just start 3v1 fights and 2v1 fights all over the map with the Nocturne Global, they're able to roam around as a team themselves and push some pressure. But Voidboy, his teleport is down for another 3 to 4 minutes, almost 4 minutes. So that's going to be kind of a weakness for CLG for a moment.
It's just so weird, you know, watching CLG play and having 2 of their towers down already, like getting out pushed. It's a little awkward.
Yeah, but you do see that sometimes with CLG. Since they don't like to group up a lot of times, they split those lanes. Sometimes they will fall behind early to those lane pushes. The key is in stabilizing it. And, you know, knowing the map, how to control the map is huge in that regards to come back. But Ziatai, oh, it seems he's DC'd, and Big Fat and Hotshot will be able to take him down right in the middle lane very easily. They do go for the pause, but not moving at all. He goes down very quickly when he probably could have escaped.
Yeah, that's the telltale sign of someone having connection issues or DCing. It's like, hey, we're engaging on you. When they stop moving.
Okay,
when they stop
that's
doing
usually a
stuff.
big sign.
Yeah, when someone stops doing stuff, it's usually a pretty good sign. Yeah, there's the DC. So he's going to come back, and he's going to be like, oh, man, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, so hopefully everything's okay, and he'll be able to get back in this game shortly. It is going to be, you know, a slight disadvantage for IG, and it's unfortunate to lose any sort of advantage when you're ahead, when you're trying to pressure the team. They, you know, want to keep all the lanes pushed. They do have Nocturne positioning himself down bottom, and I don't actually think there's a ward down there. So, you know, we'll see whether or not they can force and engage the Sona ultimate into the Ezreal and also Nocturne. They could burst someone down very quickly, but I don't know, it does put a little damper on things, because now for the next minute, CLG will have a slight advantage that they can try and, you know, work their way back in.
You know, I got to give props to Hotshot GG on this game, because he's 4-0-3. He's been a part of every single kill that has happened for CLG this game, and I got to admire that presence. He's got the move 5 boots. He can definitely be wherever he needs to be, and you know, he's doing a pretty damn good job today.
Yeah, and going for the Aegis is definitely a good decision on his part. Since he's ahead, he wants to make sure he can, you know, spread the wealth a little bit with the rest of his team. And they back off. CLG.
Good guy, Hotshot GG.
I like it. So really nice job. They back off immediately, and they might have been able to get him if he hadn't DC'd. They might have been able to pick him up, but I think he was going to be able to get out. And CLG, they don't even, you know, question it. They don't want to go into those ifs and buts. They just allow him to back off. Just really nice play.
Good, cute, good display of sportsmanship. You don't get to see that all too often.
After he wasted the feast, too. So the feast is down for a bit.
Sancho, he will be in a little bit of trouble. Lucian going straight on in for the ultimate. He is out of position here, and yeah, he doesn't have that feast. He will have the silence. Sona following up with the ult, and that is the shutdown. Ezreal going to get the credit for that one, plus a double buff for his credit.
Yeah, and Hotshot just kind of getting caught out of position. Has been using his mobility and generally working in a reactionary method to not be caught out of position, but he is kind of caught out there. PDD putting some pressure on the top lane. Voidboy will be very safe, but because Hotshot's generally coming in after the fights happen, that's why he's been so safe and been able to clean up some of these kills, because he's generally keeping himself in a very safe position there. There without an Oracles, you know, he's in a dangerous spot. They have the ward coverage, they have, you know, the Nocturne, and they are pushed up very aggressively in the top and the mid, and that's actually taking pressure off the bot, which is going to allow them to take this turret, because they can just, you know, 2v2 easily. They know that there's not going to be any ganks from CLG because the teleport's down and because there's so much pressure in these other lanes that CLG has to deal with. Yep.
Hotshot meandering on over. There's some decent ward coverage from IG, and now that he has died, there is no more oracles on the Cho. So this is a nice opportunity for IG to actually recoup some of their lost vision advantage. Chester helping out Big Fat grab the blue golem. Illusion does back. What's he picking up? So you got Nocturne. He's already got he's got a Hex Drinker, Wriggles, and those Merc Treads. Let's see what everyone else is buying. So we talked about Cho a little bit earlier. He's got the Aegis already with those Move 5 boots. And look at Diana. You got the Abyssal in addition to the Chalice.
Yeah, that's the Abyssal will be very strong. The Chalice is kind of surprising, though. And the Abyssal is a pretty standard core on Diana. Since you're looking to be so aggressive, you don't want to allow the opponent to burst you down quite so effectively. And also, the Abyssal will allow her to focus on Graves, so you can prioritize the physical damage dealer and then ignore all of the rest of the magic damage dealers. But the Chalice is interesting because it does give some MR as well, but it gives that spam ability that she was lacking in the top lane. Since if you're looking to spam for harass, you can kind of run out of mana quickly. Going in the top lane, you're missing out on that blue buff a lot more than you would in the mid, since Jace is going to be taking that blue. And so it allowed her to control that top lane fairly effectively. So really nice decision. And
this is also going to be helping out immensely once you start hitting into the mid game, into the late game, because you look at CLG, Ori, Cho, and Malphite. That is a lot of AP damage. You're going to be needing those extra resistances, especially in someone like Diana, when you have the light, when you have the ultimate, when you're going to be usually the first one into the fight right behind Nocturne. And also for CLG, you see a few cloth armors being picked up here and there because you look at IG, and it's a lot of physical damage mostly. You got the Nocturne, you got Ezreal, and you got Jace.
But you see how far behind they are in their builds. Ezreal has the Triforce and a BF sword, whereas Graves, he's finished his Bloodthirster, so he goes with an early game item so he can try and catch up a little bit. They are positioning themselves across from each other, across from this wall. Hotshot making his way in. He does steal it. He actually gets the smite. Really nice job, but he's caught out of position. And Diana coming into the backline onto double lift is a very dangerous situation for them. And IG actually backs off of it. So they're not looking for the pursuit. They, it was kind of an iffy situation for them. Both of them were trading, and they didn't want to put themselves in a bad situation considering their gold lead.
It's like, hey, Dragon, they came in, they stole it, fight is lost, everyone just do your best to try and back off. There will be no kills, but that is a good Dragon pickup for CLG. That is exactly what they needed to keep themselves in this. They are still 4K behind.
Yeah.
And IG's still looking, they're spreading out. You got Diana looking to shove the top lane. You got Ezreal, you got Sona looking to shove the bot lane.
They do pick off Jace and the stun, and they will get the slow, the ultimate from Orianna. Big Fat chasing him down, gets the Q, but ZZ is actually going for it. He goes for the E very quickly. He picks up Big Fat in the 2v1, turning into a 3v1. But, Orianna does pick him up as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hotshot did not get an assist on that one, though.
Picking up the kill there for Orianna is huge, though, because she is way behind. Big Fat is probably the biggest concern for their team. It's Graves and Big Fat. They need him to have some damage, and at that point, he'd only had a rod, so that's it. So he was extremely weak at the time. Now he's close to finishing up the Rabadons. So instead of going with, a lot of times you see Orianna go with more of an early game build and go for things like Chalice. Double lift. Does he get out? Oh, no.
The bush wasn't even warded, but IG had an idea. Quick kill on a double lift in the bot brush. Unfortunate.
But usually you'll go with like Chalice and early game items on Orianna, but because they've been having some difficulty, she's skipping right to the Rabadon. So she's missing out on some of that utility that you'd get from some of those other items like Abyssal and whatnot, but it will make up for it with pure damage, so that they're going to have the damage they need in fights to take down people like Diana.
Yep. And also, you're seeing Hotshot also building a little tanky. He's got the Chain Vest, so it looks like there's going to be a quick Guardian Angel coming in from Cho. Tarek, Jester will also take the opportunity and rebuy that Oracles.
I'm assuming it's going to be a Frozen Heart or a Randuin's, because Cho usually don't go with the GA.
That's right, you could.
And both of those will really help his team. Actually, Malphite has is working for the Frozen Heart, so he could go with the Randuin's. He could go with the GA, so he can be a little bit more aggressive. But a lot of times, if you do that on Cho, then people can kind of ignore you. So that kind of is a difficult decision. But he is set up in that position. He could definitely build that way, and that would allow him to be a little bit more aggressive in fights and not have to worry about losing those feast stacks.
It is just strange though, because if you're usually building towards the Randuin's, you'll usually opt to get the Warden's Mail first. Like the extra cloth armor is like a minimal purchase. You usually just buy it along when you complete the recipe. But I think it's just it could have been also just a split in gold when you're going back.
That's usually. Because the Warden's Mail, once you finish it, it's actually one of the best items in the game at shutting down 80 damage early on, just because you get that attack speed proc, that passive that the Warden's Mail has. But it is slightly more gold than a cloth and a chain vest are on their own. So, we'll see where he goes. Like you said, the GA, could be a very strong item for his perspective. The Zeal onto Graves, so he's starting to get a little bit more damage, but they still, have to worry about how much damage both Jace and Ezreal are going to be dealing for IG.
Yep. just about to break 23 minutes. It's about a 5K gold lead. You got a lot of DCs actually happening. Everyone's having connection problems today, man. Jeez. Bug splats all over the place. Jeez.
Yeah, hopefully they're okay. But
it's patch day.
I mean, already we've seen kind of a back-and-forth momentum shift, but CLG, they have pulled themselves back into it. They got it to about 3K. Now it's 33.1 to 28.5. So they're down a little bit more than 4K gold right now.
Yeah.
You know, but still not the same 6K gold lead that IG had earlier in the game. And late game, CLG, they have a lot of the range poke and kiting that Orianna gives them. They have a really tanky front line where IG, with these kind of assassins, they might jump in, you know, try and kill someone, not have anywhere near enough damage to take out either Cho or Malphite. And the concern for CLG is going to be protecting Doublelift, getting Doublelift's damage up there so he can carry the game, and then also protecting him. But, you know, as long as he plays safe, he does have that cleanse, he should be okay.
Yep. Just waiting for everyone to recover from the bug splat. Orianna looking for that death cap. Also a little bit of armor. Also, you had just stacking those Doran's rings earlier to get just a little bit more damage, a little bit more health, and that mana regen. Everyone's back. Should be able to stop this pause momentarily.
Yeah, so there we go. So we're resuming. So we'll see how they're going to pressure. One difficulty that IG is facing right now is that CLG, they're very strong at, you know, splitting up the map. And IG, we've seen they want to group up as a team. They've been, you know, grouping for a large portion of this game, trying to go for early fights. But there aren't any objectives right now. They have the outer turrets, Dragon's down for a little bit. And so they don't really have anything that they can pressure. So they're looking to see, they'll probably start to split push a little bit, get those lane momentum going in their favor again. Diana is making her way up top so they can push up there. Jace can push down the mid lane. And then try and get that 1v1 Ezreal versus Doublelift matchup in the bottom lane. If they can get Full Life versus Doublelift, then, you know, he can continue to shut down Graves, because right now this is an opportunity for Graves to catch up in this game. He's behind Ezreal pretty significantly, but this long kind of vague period where IG's not pressuring anything, and because they're not very strong at pushing towers, it opens up an opportunity for Doublelift to catch up.
Yep. So how far behind is he actually? So 25 is, yeah, that's more than 1,500 gold. That's a pretty significant disadvantage Doublelift is at right now. And like I mentioned before, conveniently enough, I don't have to strain my eyes too far because now we got that nice little adjustment here. But man, that is severely significant. Even then, you look at the mid matchup too. Jace has more than 1,000. But yeah, the only one who's doing significantly better than the opposing team is Hotshot. So pretty much all of the positive gold is front-loaded onto him.
And Hotshot's been holding them together so far. He had the Dragon Steel, he had the kills mid that stalled that tower out. They still lost the mid turret, but it went down a little bit later, and he's been able to prevent them from snowballing like they would like to. One thing that's going to be kind of interesting for CLG, or for Invictus, is they have Jace has a lot of damage right now. And he went for the Brutalizer as well. So if he hits some of the squishies like Graves, like Orianna, that's going to be fantastic for him. However, the other three champions in the game for CLG are all going to be so beefy and have so much armor that Jace is actually not going to be able to poke them down very effectively. So, Malphite, Cho, and Taric, they can all sit there, hold the front line, and block those Q shots from Jace in order to protect the back line. So it's going to make it kind of difficult for him in fights.
Hopefully we'll be able to stick with this connection this time. PD pushing up the top lane. You got Doublelift, he's looking to defend the bot, and IG still looking to group on up here. Ward coverage coming in from Chowster, because there is the Baron. Baron time is approaching soon. Next if a team fight sways into either team's favor, that could be a quick Baron pickup, but you do have Illusion with the Oracles looking to clear out that coverage. And does Chowster still got his Oracles too, so Oracles on both teams. Still got to buy those wards, still need that vision. Fly also getting a little bit extra farm there on small golems. Everyone just looking to move on in. PD though, Diana's sticking with that top plan though.
Well, and again, it's just the period of the game where there aren't any objectives for IG to force. They don't have a very good pushing team because of the short range of their team. They can't pressure Orianna because Orianna will just clear the waves and they'll be in a dangerous situation. But Taric getting caught out of position, he might actually be in a dangerous spot. Sona does back off of him, and they are coming up to try and pressure this blue. So blue buff spawning, that opens up an opportunity for IG to continue to wield their might and try and pressure CLG.
As you're looking to
he
take it
gets
real
it.
quick.
He smited it.
Nice.
Cho'Gath was able to steal it back from them. So they came in there, but Hotshot gets the smite on the blue. Really nice job.
He has been on point with that smite today. Like I'm kind of scared to see what happens if Baron fights.
Part of that is the ping advantage, and IG knows it, so they might be more hesitant to get Baron a little bit later on, recognizing that Hotshot has been outsmiting him and taking that advantage.
Yeah, there's about 130 ping separating these two teams here. Of course, IG, they're playing from China. They're going to be, they recognize it. Yeah, we're going to be at a severe disadvantage if we do this. And, I think you're...
Of course, they're going to be timing their smites to be ready. Like, they recognize the situation. Nocturne, he can time his smites to go along with that. It's just a very minor advantage. It's really mostly, really nice timing from Hotshot.
Yep. So you got Hotshot, and I think you're right on this one. Randuin's Omen going to be coming on in. He's just stacking up those. He's got an additional cloth armor just because he just wants to stay that much protected. It's like, I could finish the recipe, or I could just have even more armor on show.
And it allows him to shut down all the physical damage to help Graves. So when Jace and Ezreal and Nocturne are all, jumping into his team, Jace and Nocturne in particular, if they're trying to get into the backline onto Graves, he can throw off the Randuin's Omen. It'll work on Diana as well. It'll allow Double Lift to kite a little bit more easily. It'll shut down a lot of their damage along with that Frozen Heart. They're shutting down a lot of that physical damage. And then it makes him a threat. So he can, still be a threat. If you go with the G8, it provides no team synergy. And we talked about because he's so far ahead. Like, he's the one who has the gold for his team at 4-1 and 3. He wants to share the wealth a little bit, and the Aegis and Randuin's, they're nice team items that allow them to catch up. And now with Big Fat finishing the Randuin or the Rabadons as well, that's a really nice situation for them. But they are starting to have enough damage for these team fights, and their team fight control is a little bit stronger than IG's. IG's needs a little bit of chaos to their fights. They need to be able to pick people off 1v1 and allow Jace and Ezreal to use their range to poke people down and pick off stragglers.
Yep. And also, like I mentioned before, Big Fat, he did manage to get that stray cloth armor, so just in case. He's just a little bit extra resistance.
Oh, Jace was just crushing him without it. I mean, without that cloth armor, Jace was just pounding at his face with those Qs.
Right, and Jace is getting pretty beefy in his own right. He's got a Bloodthirster and Brutalizer. Pickaxe, I'm guessing, whoa, am I stuck on mouse 3? I am stuck on mouse 3. I'm guessing Pickaxe...
Oh, does the mouse disappear?
Yes,
it said it
yes,
will.
it does.
Cool. I hadn't noticed until just now.
It is a vanishing act, sir. Ooh.
Really just a minor thing. I was curious.
Yeah, but
everyone put away your awards.
Don't freak out, okay? The cursor did not go anywhere. Don't freak out, James, all right? We're good. We're good. But the pickaxe, also for Jace, just a little bit extra damage there. You can build that into plenty of other stuff later on in. Possibly if we pick up against this AP heavy team, we can see that in combination with the Hex Drinker, probably pick up a Maw for himself even. It wouldn't be also too far out there for Nocturne to build one also.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how he's going to build his Nocturne, because that's kind of one of the issues with Nocturne. He can scale very well in the late game. Sona walking right into Big Fat. Is he going to go for it? No. He does back off with that ward. He's a little bit concerned. They have the Nocturne. He doesn't know where they are. The range from Jace as well. Jace, you kind of, a lot of times you can be caught by surprise with how far away he can attack you from. But I thought maybe he might go in on it, but just going to play safe. And so CLG not looking for those early attempts. But going back to the Nocturne thing, it is interesting because Nocturne, he is kind of squishy early on. So the Hex Drinker definitely works for that regards. Mostly, I think that CLG will ignore Nocturne a little bit, but they want to be able to take him off of Double Lift. Like, that's the key. They need to pull Nocturne off of Double Lift in fights. But I don't know, his mid-game builds are always difficult. Like, Nocturne, there's not like a clear item path where it's like, this is the #1 build.
But in the grand scheme of things, when CLG, they enter these fights, there's going to be 2 frontliners on IG, and that's Nocturne and Diana. And Diana is the significantly bigger threat here at this point in the game, because Nocturne, he's the only one behind in comparison to the enemy team. Nice shots coming from Jace just for a little bit extra harass. Illusion out in front with the Oracles, and Dragon is back on up. Will there be another godly smite? There will not be. Nocturne does walk on out of there, but there is the scream. Sounds like 3 members of IG inside the pit. Nocturne going down. Who's he focusing on? Chowster going to be chunked out huge this time. A Hotshot will actually fall. Be the first one in this fight. Jace does go down. PD gets focused down. Double Lift catches him over the ridge. Big Fat has nowhere to go. Voyboy does get exhausted. 3 members of IG looking to chase, and in the meantime, you got Chowster looking to escape. But Voyboy, can you live off of this one? No, there's not a chance. Sacrificing himself so the support in AD can live.
Yeah, 3v2 in IG's favor, and they also get the Dragons, so they're continuing to build up on their lead. But Doublelift was pretty safe in that fight, so despite the fact that he has to deal with both Nocturne and Diana, he was fairly safe. Nocturne chasing down Tarek. No, Chouster's going to back out of there.
Yeah.
But he was...
Yeah, there's so much time created, though, that there are still wards to be cleared, and Chouster just cannot get the time to clear them.
But the previous fight, Doublelift, he did a really nice job of avoiding some of that damage. They were able to peel for him fairly effectively, but they have no means of chasing down Ezreal, and that's going to be a concern the entire game. The fact that Ezreal is going to be free to auto-attack and get his damage in all the fights, because they don't want to use a Malphite ultimate on him. He might dodge it anyway, but at the very least, it would leave Doublelift vulnerable. So. Yeah. The fact that CLG has no means of pressuring Ezreal could be really dangerous for them going forward.
Not to mention the fact that Hotshot was actually the first one to go down in that fight. So now IG just really does not see Hotshot as a threat at this point. They can chunk him out, and they've shown that we can kill him quickly if need be before the rest of you can actually join in on this fight.
Yeah, but it also shows that they're not comfortable penetrating that back line, because they're a little bit concerned. If they do, that they're still kind of squishy. They're going to get focused down pretty easily, and Diana and Nocturne might drop a little bit quicker than they would like, which is why you saw Nocturne jumping onto Chouster, which is a little bit unusual. But he was on the outside of the fight. They wanted to just make sure they skirt around the outside and don't pull themselves in too deep. So that that fight, it spread out over a very large distance, where Orianna and Malphite, they weren't able to get those great AoEs that they would like. They weren't able to get the Graves AoE like they would like as well.
Yep. And you also see the Ezreal build coming on in. He's got the pickaxe, he's got the longsword. That should be a Last Whisper very soon. The best answer you could possibly have against a team that's starting to stack that armor. And we're probably going to be seeing one from Jace pretty soon also. IG, they're sticking her around the top of river quite a bit. Chester helping out Big Fat get the blue once again. Ezreal ult coming on in, clearing the wave down bot. They're buying a little bit more time because it looks like the ward cover is being cleared, and IG is starting up on this Baron, and there's no vision right now for CLG. They saw the ward get cleared, but they did not see the start of the Baron.
Yeah, and Diana is baiting mid, so they have to expect it. They are pinging it, trying to get in there. They drop the ward, can't get the steal. They pick it up very quickly. So IG, really nice job continuing with that pressure. That's going to be really dangerous for CLG now. They still, have the advantage under towers. However, Jace can poke them down some and has the regen advantage, so that CLG maybe can't stall quite as effectively as they would like to.
So now let's just take a little bit of a gold update here also, because you got a 7K lead now for IG. You got IG with Baron. They're in a pretty huge power position right now, and it looks like we've talked a little bit before because of that last team fight that the CLG, they are having a little bit of trouble here. So defense mode for the next few minutes, but do you think how much do you think CLG is actually going to be losing on these the series of pushes?
I mean, they can't fight them underneath the turret. If IG forces a fight under the turret, I think IG would probably lose it. Even if they pick up a couple of members, they would lose all their Baron buffs, and that would be really dangerous. But they can try and wear them down. But one thing that CLG's done a really nice job of is getting Graves back into this game, and he is ahead of Ezreal now in CS because of the split pushing he's been able to do. But you see, they're able to wear down those turrets very quickly, zone CLG off of it. I don't think that IG is going to be able to take any base turrets, so that's a huge benefit for CLG. I think they'll be able to hold off long enough for that, and the vision and how it clumps into a tight area right at those base turrets, that would actually work in CLG's benefit if IG tried to force it, because they would all walk right into the AoE that CLG has. So I think IG, they'll get some outer turrets, but CLG will be able to hold off for a second.
Yep. And while Doublelift may have caught up in CS, he still is about 2K behind. And that is all the towers that were taken earlier. That's Dragons, Barons, other objectives of the like, plus kills. But now all of CLG, everyone, the entire game, everyone is here clumped up onto the top tier 2 here on CLG side. CLG looking to defend. You got Sona laying in wait. Flash is up, ult is up, exhaust is up. As soon as, if anyone from CLG peeks out from beyond the turret, Sona is going to be there with an ult. Very well timed over the wall, actually readjusting, going to the back line. There's the Orianna ult, keeping only Diana staying there. Nocturne ult coming in right to the back line. Big Fat LP is caught there. Sona will actually grab the kill onto the Orianna. It's still a little bit of trouble. Diana, though, will help save the day. Doublelift looking for one more plug. Does manage to get it, but Ezreal is right there with the shift over the wall. It is a 2 for 4. Voyboy has no choice but to retreat back to the base, and IG is in a very dominant position right now.
Yeah, great fight for IG. Ezreal started off, they had poked them down. Graves had been trying to clear out some of the waves, so he's in kind of a dangerous spot. They were able to get some pokes onto him, but the Ezreal ult set it up. They were all very low, and then Diana baited it in. So CLG, they were in a situation where they needed to retreat. They were low from the Ezreal ultimate. They needed to get out of there, just agree to lose the turret, but they saw Diana walk in, and they all of a sudden went, oh my god, Diana, we can pick up the Diana kill and turn this around. But he was baiting, he threw up the Zhonya's ultimate, really nice play, and pulling CLG in that manner, it really just completely shut them down. When they tried to retreat, Sona had the follow-up ultimate on both Orianna and Graves, and they were able to easily take home that fight, get the inhibitor.
There's less than a minute on the Baron buff, so you're not going to be seeing another push on it, but yeah, for what the Baron buff has gotten, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Plus, also, Ezreal going to be grabbing another dragon for IG. The goal lead is just starting to get to the point of ridiculous. 12K. 12K in the lead IG has.
And if CLG had gone back there, they would have lost the turret, but they probably would have kept their base turret and their inhibitor, because IG wouldn't have wanted to pressure into the base just because it clumps up. It's too much of a bottleneck. But they were able to force a fight outside, and it was a really nice job pulling CLG out of position.
And now with is the buff gone? Baron buff is just about to expire, just mere seconds. There we go. 37-30 is when that Baron is going to be coming back up. Huge chunk of damage going down on a double, but he will be fine. He's going to be just walking on back to base, rejoining with the rest of the team because there's still plenty of pressure going here. Now onto the bot lane. You also got Diana getting a little aggressive PD, keeping everyone busy there into the mid lane. CLG is going to be a rough time to try and defend now this bot tier 2, because the longer you're going to be spending trying to defend the lane, you do have super minis now pushing up in the top lane here for IG. It's just a matter of how long can CLG take it.
And Graves is the only one that can clear those super minions, so the rest of them don't have enough sustained damage to take it down, which means that Doublelift is going to have to start, as it pressures the Nexus turrets, leaving his team, and that's going to leave them vulnerable. They should be able to stall for a while at these minions, but the pressure can start to build up, and IG will move back and forth between the mid and the bot, trying to snowball both lanes.
So now in front, playing a point, got Jace down bot lane. And that's the thing, you just got to have someone in any lane looking to continue the push. Now you see Doublelift, he has no choice but to stay back at the Nexus turrets to take care of those super minions. This does open up an opportunity here for the bot tier 3, and you see Ezreal and Jace ducking in and out, getting whatever free hits they can on any champs, minions, whatever. The tower is still relatively healthy, only have 1 or 2 shots on it, but this should not be the story for long because the push continues, and PD keeping the pressure on there in top lane. Anytime there's minis, like, no, we're not having that. We got to make way for the super minis, roll out the red carpet for him.
He actually peeked in on the top, so a little bit. He was in their base, and if Doublelift had gone up there to push, maybe he could dive for a kill, or if they were sitting mid in a bad situation, he could come mid and, you know, fight from behind and actually flank CLG, get into Doublelift in the back. So it was nice positioning on his part. You know, both him and Nocturne can have a little bit more mobility, but CLG, they're just constantly pulled back and forth. Fortunately, they've been able to keep their health pretty high. They haven't taken too much harass damage, which is what IG is looking to do right now. They're looking to just poke them down so they can pressure in, and with Hotshot that low, they might actually go for it with the next minion wave and try and take one of these turrets. Yeah,
Cho, you know, someone you'd expect to be extremely tanky, has now been brought down to under 1,000 health. Hotshot has no option but to go back to the fountain, heal back up, and with that, the tier 3 and mid does fall. The inhibitor going down shortly, but leaving up because they're recognizing the engagement is about to happen. Voyboy out in front, waiting for his opportunity. Orianna Orb also on him, waiting for the follow-up with that ult. You got Sona with the crescendo coming on in. Illusion on the backline, wants the Fear Tethers onto Doublelift, and still managed to get the kill onto Orianna. Chouster out in front is a little bit trapped, looking for stuns, looking to just try and get away, but PD is free to just attack Doublelift as much as possible. Hotshot just staying by the turret. He needs that home, he needs that security, but he's not going to get it. The dive will happen, and IG has pretty much wiped out all of CLG. Voyboy, he is back at base, he is healed up, but he cannot defend against this push. All the inhibs are down. It's just leaving for the Nexus, and now you see Doublelift. Members of CLG are starting to lead the game. They are recognizing it's over, and that is it. Game 1 going to Invictus Gaming.
Really impressive play from Invictus. And the last bit there, you know, like we were saying, they're waiting for that opportunity to wear someone down, poke someone down. It hadn't happened for a while, but successive shots from Jace onto Cho'Gath. Hotshot had to back off. It was a 4v5 situation for them to pressure that inhibitor, and they were able to run in real quick, just instantly drop the tower, and that's what they were looking for. Then they backed off. They didn't take the inhibitor. The inhibitor was like one shot away, but the Shurelya's from Voyboy, it tipped them off, and they were like, oh, all right, let's back up a step. We don't want to be caught in the AoE, and they spread. So having that spread as a team, there wasn't ever an opportunity for CLG to get that quick AoE team, and Graves didn't have enough damage to single target focus anyone. So they weren't able to get AoE to win, and then you saw at the end there, double left. He was trying to kill PDD. He couldn't even do it. And PDD doesn't really have that much armor. I mean, he has a decent amount from the Zhonyas, but you expect late game for your AD to be able to solo someone like Diana.
Yeah. And Hotshot had a fantastic start. Had quite possibly one of the best starts you can ever have for a jungler, but you look at the all of the gold distribution onto IG, onto Ezreal, onto Jace, your two main damage dealers, and unfortunately, Blast Whisper greater than a bunch of armor.
Yeah, IG was just pressuring them the entire game. They were able to, you know, roam around a little bit. They had a lot of mobility as a team. You saw Illusion was pressuring a lot of the lanes before he was even 6. So he was looking for that early presence, and he did a really nice job. They were able to take those early advantages, run with it. CLG almost came